Welcome to Soft Bites Podcast. Your life, your dentistry. We talk about ways to have more fun and meaning in one of the coolest and most rewarding professions in medicine. Conversations on how to bring awareness, create a healthy workplace, and provide emotional insights to make dentistry a fulfilling activity while making space for one's wonder, creativity, and freedom. Here are your hosts, Manuela and George Andre.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Soft Bites podcast. And hello, Andre. How are you?
How are you, Manuela? How are you, Cláudia? Welcome.
Hi, guys. Thank you. How are you?
Today we have a colleague from Portugal, Cláudia Duarte, and she's Portuguese, but she's actually working and living in Belgium. But I'm going to let you tell about your story, Cláudia. And we always start the same way. So welcome, and we always start the same way. Tell us, why did you choose dentistry? And afterwards, tell us a little bit about your journey in dentistry until now.
Okay. Hi, guys. Thank you for inviting me. It's very nice to be here with you, talking to you. About my journey in dentistry. I didn't actually choose dentistry for passion or anything like that. I actually, I think a lot of us, I actually didn't have a very good idea about what I wanted. I thought maybe if following medicine, I wanted something in healthcare, something that I could help people, work with people. I couldn't get into medicine, so I decided to go for dentistry. And yeah, that's why I started studying dentistry.
So you didn't know what to expect when you chose dentistry. You didn't know what you were going to get into.
I had an idea, of course, but yes, I think I had an idea. But I think all of us, you are 18 years old, you have an idea of what you're going to choose, of what you're going to do, but you're not really inside the job. You don't, unless you have someone really close who is a dentist or who works on that area, you never fully know what to expect, I think.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, true. Mm-hmm. What about after, Cláudia? After you finished graduation, how was it?
So yes, I graduated, and then I worked for a couple of years. I was working in Portugal for 3 or 4 years, I think. But I was not completely satisfied, feeling completely fulfilled with my working conditions, with the job there. So I decided I wanted something more, and so I decided to move abroad, and that's why I moved to Belgium, where I'm working now for 6 years already, I think.
All right. So by you work in the south of Portugal, right, in the Algarve?
No, I worked actually in the area of Lisbon.
Lisbon, exactly.
Sintra.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go straight to the point of your traveling. So I've heard that last year, I think it was last year, right, that you made a 3-month trip to South America, right? Tell us about it. How did that idea came up? Was it difficult to stop clinical work for 3 months? Was it planned? How did that went?
So the idea of I have always loved to travel, and I've traveled to some places before, but it was mostly 1, 2, 3 weeks, no more than that. But I had the idea already of doing something, go somewhere for a couple of months, something longer, something bigger than normal. But I've actually wanted to do that for quite some time. But before I was a bit afraid to do that alone. And so that's why I think I didn't do it earlier. But then it was end of 2021, I think. And it's actually funny because the idea came up while I was working, while I was talking to a patient. And I was talking to a young girl. She's a patient of mine. She comes regularly to my appointments. And she told me, yeah, next year I won't be here because I will be traveling for a couple of months. I'm going to Asia. And I thought, okay, that's something I want to do. I've been wanting to do for a while. Why don't I go? Why am I afraid of? And so in that moment, like the idea grew up in my mind. I started thinking more about it. And so it was more like planning where to go. Actually, I had already the idea in my mind also, but planning where to go, seeing what was possible, and also talking to the practices where I work and everything to see if it was possible. And then I think it was 3 or 4 months afterwards, I finally left.
So let me dig a little bit deeper, because you said some things that are important, which is, so first of all, you always felt that you wanted to travel for a little bit longer. So you've always had that feeling that 1 or 2 weeks is not enough to get out of the places that you went to exactly what you wanted. So 1 or 2 weeks was not enough for you. So you wanted something more. I'm going to ask you, what was that something more that you were looking for? And also regarding traveling, and I'm sure that if you travel a lot in Latin America, you find many people traveling alone, men and women, many people traveling alone, which is, I think that especially Europeans, I think that Americans, they travel alone quite often. It's something quite normal. But for Europeans, especially the south of Europe, we are a little bit more, I don't know. I once told the father of a friend of mine that I travel alone quite often, and I usually spend about 2 or 3 weeks in the south of Portugal alone just to write. And he was quite impressed negatively. He says, "There's something wrong with this guy." You know? So 2 questions. What is it that you want to get out of the traveling? Number 1. Number 2, why do you think that we are so afraid of traveling alone? Or that you were afraid, and I think everybody is a little bit afraid of traveling alone, because there's this sort of imposition that we should always travel with a company. What do you think?
So answering your first question, what was I looking for? Actually, I think 2 or 3 weeks. Sometimes it's not enough to really get in the culture, really know the places, really live instead of traveling. That's what I think. And really get into the place, know the people, live the way they do, and also to disconnect, to really not feeling like a regular vacation 2 or 3 weeks and then you come back. But it's what I was saying, live more than going on a regular holiday.
I'm going to tell you what I think, and I think this is a common theme, and maybe it happens to you the same or not. But I feel more myself if I'm in one of those places for a longer period of time. So it is true that ultimately you want to be in other places, right? You want to travel, meet new culture. But for me, at least in this point of my life, of course, that's important, and the energy and the temperature and everything. But also because I feel that it's easier for me in a country like that to be closer to myself. Is that something that also rings some bells in you, or not really?
Yes. That's true. But I think it's not only the country itself, but also what we were talking about, traveling alone. Because when you are in your environment, like the place where you grew up or where you work or something like that, you are always with the people you know, the places you know. You are, I don't want to say protected because it's not like that, but you are a bit molded by that.
Actually,
and when you are alone,
that's what people consider normal. Normality is that, right? I'm just,
I
I'm
think
just,
so.
I'm just.
Yes.
That's the thing. The thing is that, and I'm sure it's in the beginning when you told your, I don't know, maybe it hasn't, but when you told some of your friends or some of your parents that you were traveling alone, it's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
For them.
Yeah. Especially, for our culture. You know that here in central of Europe, where, it's also what you mentioned, where I'm living now, it's a bit different. And of course, while I was traveling, most of the people that I met while traveling were mostly Dutch people and German people as well. So Central of Europe. Americans also not that much, but a lot of people from Central Europe traveling alone. And that's something else. But for us, Portuguese people of the South, it's not that common, and it's a bit out of normal indeed.
But was it? I mean, were you afraid? Were you? Did you have any doubts when you consider that? I mean, was that really
Yes.
clear on your mind that I really have to do something for a longer period of time? If I don't find a partner to go with me, a friend or whatever, I'll go alone. How long did it take to have that decision? And were you afraid of that?
Um, it was not always clear that if I didn't find a partner or something that I would go alone. I think I only had it clear on my mind just before I decided to go. But of course, I had fears and everything, and I had doubts, and it was not always clear. But yeah, it's. I think you always have fears and doubts, but it's like that. When you really want to go and to do something like that, you have to do it.
And let me go back to that, to my first question. And you don't have to go into details. You said that one of the reasons that you travel is also not only to embed yourself in the culture, right? But it's also because you become probably closer to yourself, or you feel something different that you feel. I'm talking. I talk to from myself, from my perspective. I am a different person if I spend 3 weeks in Latin America. I become a different person. I don't stay like that for too long once I start to work, but I become a different person. I become a better version of myself. Someone more open, more energetic, more giving. That's what I feel about myself. Fitter
Yes.
because I work
Yes.
out a lot there. How do you feel? How different is the Claudia after 3 months in Latin America? How different is that person?
So the thing there, it's okay. First of all, you
By
can't.
the by the way, no one's listening to us, so you can go into details. It's fine.
Okay. Now let me think about your question. I think it's because first of all, you depend on yourself fully. So you know what you do, what you're going to do. It's all on yourself, and also what you choose to do. It's on yourself. You depend on nobody. So in the end, it's like if you want to do something, or if you want to, you just have to listen to yourself and do what you want. Um, and it's also, I think,
So you're more connected to yourself. I know exactly what you mean, and me and Manuel, we were both smiling because we know exactly what you mean. When you don't have a backup, there's no one else to be except yourself,
yes, and
isn't
there's
it?
no one else to blame if things go wrong as well.
Which is
So
good,
it's
which is
Which is
also
good.
very good.
Yeah.
very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. It's very good, I think.
Uh-huh.
It's so your it's everything is totally your responsibility. And actually, I love that feeling. It's like you feel you are in control of what your life, what you do, of your time. And also, I think because my experience while traveling alone, it's you meet a lot of people along the way, and very different people. So it opens your mind. Indeed, it makes you um, see things from different perspectives. and maybe talk to people which in your normal life, normal day, probably you wouldn't talk or you wouldn't have such a connection.
Yeah.
And it broadens
and for example,
your...
but that what you said is exactly what we also believe in. When you come back, or even while you are there after 3 months, how do you think that the way that you relate yourself to other people, once you are in Latin America for 3 months, exposed to yourself, closer to yourself, do you think that when you come back or while you're still there, the way that you relate to other people, is it more positive in any way? Is it different in any way? Is it calmer in any way? What do you
Yes,
think?
yes. More positive and calmer. Yes, indeed. Because also maybe, I don't know if it's the best way to describe it, but also like the way you relate to other people and also the interactions you have most of the time, it comes from, yeah, you want to. It's not like, yeah, for example, on your daily life here or working or something like that, sometimes you're forced to interact with people. Probably it's not always the best or maybe not always your first choice, but you have to. But when you're traveling in such a way, it's I mean, the interactions come from a place of of wanting, of you
Claudia,
understand what I mean?
I understand what you mean, but let me getting a little bit deeper. What I wanted to ask you also if what you were looking for in the beginning, because you mentioned going deeper in the culture, going deeper in the sense of this connection, not only on feeling the vacations, feeling. I want to ask you if what you were looking for, for what I understood, it ended up being much more what you had and what you find. You, because you mentioned you gained this sense of connection with yourself, this sense of authenticity, of connection with others, all of that. So you got much more of your 3-month trip. But what I want to ask you is, and you already mentioned the difference of connection, for example, with people, the authentic way of connection with people during those 3 months, and the connection that we have on our daily lives. Were you able to apply some of that knowledge? Do you already have the sense of perspective of those 3 months that you had? And in order for to be able to apply some of that, because it's a different Claudia after those 3 months, right? And there's a lot of wisdom there that you got that you can apply in your daily life, even in work. Were you able already to understand how did the trip impact your work as a dentist, and to bring some knowledge of that, for example, that authenticity of that Claudia to your work and to your everyday life? Do you understand my question?
I think I understand your question. And yes, indeed, I think I was able to do that, and it really changed. But also, what I think it's like after some time, because it was 1 year ago, it's also sometimes easier to just go back to your old habits and forget a little bit, you know what I mean? Because you start getting...
Yes, I know. But that's why we have to work on it. That's why there's some tools.
Yes,
For example, meditation
indeed.
helps you to get in touch
Yes.
with yourself. But yes, you have to work on it. Otherwise, you lose that connection.
Yes,
and you lose that
indeed.
authenticity, because you start again going in the autopilot mode. So just not being aware of whatever is that we are doing. So
it's
that
a work
requires
you
a
have
lot
to
of
do every
attention
day,
and
indeed.
work. Yeah.
Indeed.
But you were, is there something that you feel that you brought from your trip, that you are still applying in your as even if it's just a simple thing as just taking things more lightly, because sometimes we are so in the bubble that we take things so seriously and we take ourselves so seriously. And when we give ourselves the chance to go on an adventure like you did, we take a step back. And in the end of the day, sometimes hard days that we know we all have in dentistry, and we remember and say, no, I don't have to take myself so seriously. Do you feel that? Do you have that perspective?
Yes, I do. I feel that, and actually, yeah, that's it. I try to put a bit more in perspective, and also to think like, okay, this is just one day. Maybe it's not that good, but then trying to remember, okay, it's not always like this, and trying to remember of those moments. And also, I think I tried already to do that before I traveled there, but I try also to do some things outside work to connect a bit more with myself. For example, I started dancing there in Central America, and now I try to do that every week. Those kinds of stuff. We still like something.
Nice. That's what we're looking. That's what we are looking for.
Yeah,
that's exactly. Now, that's exactly the. I'm about to ask the same question that Manuela did, but in a different way, which is okay. Let's imagine you are in Belgium working for 3 months or 4 months. If me and Manuel, we go there and we have dinner with you, we go out with some friends, or we go do whatever, it doesn't matter. We just interact with you outside work, right? And you've been working in Belgium for 3 months, okay? That's one scenario. The other scenario is we go there to Belgium and meet you. We go out and have dinner with you, go out with some friends, but you just arrive from Latin America from a 3-month trip the day before. How different is that, Claudia? Tell me exactly how different is she? So tell us.
I think it's very different. I mean, if I just came back from Latin America 3 months, I have all the stories to tell. I have all the energy from the things that I did, all that I experienced before. It's very different because you enjoy yourself.
Let me guess what Manuel is about to ask you. What is that energy exactly?
What is that energy exactly?
Can I give you a hint? Why did you wanted to go? Why did you want to go dancing in Latin America? How different of a person? What expression of yourself came from dancing?
What expression of myself came from dancing?
I'm sure you said that something that you've always wanted to do was dancing, right? You always wanted to do that, right?
To dance.
You told us that you always wanted that you in Latin America you started dancing there,
yes,
which is something
I started
that you haven't done. Does that make you feel good?
Yeah, it makes you feel good, free. It makes you, yes.
So there's something there, isn't it? There's something there.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I don't think that you go to Latin America because of the culture. You go to Latin America because you want to feel free, isn't it?
I think it's in first place why I travel.
Of course, but that's
because I want to feel free. Yes.
Exactly. That's it. And what me and Manuel, what we believe, which is very different, is how free can you still be while you come back to Belgium, which is, do you feel that it's possible to transport that freedom, which is another question. Do you think it's possible to transport that state of being at least for a few months while you are here? Or do you think that you just shut down yourself and you get into a different mode? What's your view on that? Because at the end of the day, actually today I saw something very interesting. I was about to send you, Manuel, which is there's this cartoon. There are several different steps, and you wait for the last step to be happy. That's one option. The other option is you be a little bit happy in each one of the little steps. So the thing here is, Claudia, can you bring some of that energy, which is, it happens to be Latin America, but can Claudia be a little bit freer in Belgium as well? You think it's possible?
Yes, definitely. And that's what I try to do, actually.
I'm not saying that I have the answer, because honestly, if I come from Latin America, I can hold it on like that. I'm much better. Yeah, I am much better than I was in the past, because now I can hold it on for longer. So it's like that on back of my mind theme that keeps on going. But yes, I had to practice that. I had to be aware of that. I had to be aware of exactly what makes me feel good there, and hold on to that feeling, which are the behaviors and things that I have to do.
Mm-hmm. But and for how long can you
with you, do you think it's an on-off? I mean, you arrive here, you shut down, and you are a different person, or you try to bring that Claudia to Belgium as well?
No, yes, I try to bring that. Of course, I don't think it works like that. And after living such thing, you try to. That's why I came here, and I inscribed in the classes, and I go out for dancing, and I try to do all these things that, as we were saying, that makes me free, makes me disconnect a little bit from
and also
from work, and also
it has a lot to do with creative energy, which is something that we also talked a lot about here in the podcast, about how we can have this feeling of enthusiasm, right? This energy of enthusiasm, of being creative, of having fun in what you are doing. And we should be able to explore all of that, and to explore the things that gives us energy and that elevate us. And I think that the ones that are able to do that, that are able to discover what really lights them up, they are much easier to have that feeling of connection with themselves. And then what we also try to explore here in the podcast, and my question before had to do also with that, Claudia, is how we can also do that not only outside work, outside the clinic, but also start to bring that a little bit into the clinic. George André, for example, says that he loves to write the articles because he expresses himself in that. He finds that a kind of art. He uses his language, and so and there's much more examples, because sometimes, and what I also see in colleagues is that they are able to find this sparkle outside the job. But then if they don't integrate curiosity, if they don't integrate creativity in their job, what happens is that they are in pain and suffering during the job, only waiting for the outside, because it's in the outside that they have the creativity, the enthusiasm, the energy. And basically for these colleagues, dentistry is just a mean for them to earn money, to sustain then the other part that gives them the energy and the joy. So and that's totally okay. Nothing against that. That's not what I'm saying. And even some of those people, they are able to also at a certain moment stop dentistry, the clinical work, and then pursue another interests out of dentistry. But I also believe that if you are able to bring that energy and that curiosity, because what you told that you had during your trip, the authenticity, the connection, the going to talk to people without even knowing them, starting dancing, and you see that you enjoy it, it has to do a lot of curiosity with beginner's mind, with you putting yourself in a position that you say, okay, no one knows me here, I don't care, I'm going to explore, I don't know if I like it or not, but I will see, I have to do it, I'm here alone, right? So to be able to transport that curiosity, that beginner's mind, to your everyday dentistry, to the things that you did already 50,000, 100 times or whatever. But it's possible if you bring the curiosity, if you bring that energy, you will see that you'll find something that sparks your joy also during your day. So, we think that's very interesting because we know that dentists are very intelligent, they are highly creative, and sometimes the profession takes that away from them, takes that away from them due to the automatic pilot. So if you give yourself the opportunity to be creative, and of course, creativity is a muscle, curiosity is a muscle, just like you said, Claudia, you have that, but then, okay, it's the automatic pilot and you lose it. So you have to build it, you have to train it, but it's a muscle, it's possible. But it's Andre.
I'm sure, for example, I completely agree with what Manuel, and it's funny because we haven't rehearsed anything, but the questions that we were both asking were always trying to go for the same answers. And for example, what I see in yourself is I think you must be a very interesting person to talk to as a dentist and for patients, because there's so many life in you. I mean, there's so many stories in South America. I mean, imagine if someone talks about vacations, or if someone asks you about this or that. I mean, you are a very rich person in terms of content, isn't it? And that itself makes you a very interesting professional. Does it make sense what I'm saying? That in itself is already an advantage, and you should use that. I mean, you should all that enthusiasm that you have in your trips, you can bring that to the way that you relate to patients. I know that patients are sometimes a little bit difficult to deal with. They are not very positive, but I'm sure that you find some very positive people. No. But if you are curious enough, like Manuel was saying, you will be able to identify those people, because if you are more connected to that sort of energy. Do you feel that it changed you as a dentist?
I do. Yes, that's it. It's not, maybe not all the patients, not all the people, but indeed to connect with some people.
Of course.
And yes, that's it. Sometimes it's really easy to talk to people and to connect, and especially if I have some patients just came to my mind who also love to travel, and we love to travel. And also with my colleagues the same, and my assistants and everything.
That's what life is about. Life is about connection with other people. So you can do that in Latin America, but you can also do it in the office sometimes. You can connect to other people in ways that you thought it weren't interesting, but because you rehearsed those behaviors and you saw in a more free environment how you could connect to people, you can also do that in a different level, of course, but you can also bring that same energy and the same Claudia to talk to patients in Belgium, which is...
Yes, I think I did it, yes.
I'm sure you have. Yes. And just to change the subject, but so why Latin America? I mean, you've traveled all over the world, right?
A little bit, yes.
So why Latin America? Why South America, sorry?
Actually, yes. So my initial plan was actually Central America. And it was because I had this thing, I wanted to go to Guatemala. I saw some documentaries about it, about their culture. I was really interested, really curious. And I had it in my mind, I had it planned to go there in 2020. But then, it wasn't possible due to Corona. And so, it was just, I knew it. I mean, I have some other things on my list, of course, but it was like that trip that it was supposed to happen before. And so, I wanted to go there. I didn't have to think a lot. And then my idea was to just travel there in Central America, to start in Guatemala and then end in Panama. I had the tickets already, everything. But then I couldn't go to Nicaragua because I had COVID, and they asked for some COVID tests to get inside the country. I couldn't get inside the country. There was some stories. So in the end, I did Guatemala, Costa Rica, Panama, and then I went to Colombia, and then that was my trip.
So sorry, we are a little bit annoying sometimes, but what exactly, and don't tell me about facts. I mean, tell me about facts, but tell me more about feelings. What is it that you felt in South America or Central America that you haven't felt elsewhere, or that you saw, or whatever? You may say, "Well, I just find the guy. I found the guy there, and I fell in love with the place." Okay, don't have to talk about that. But what is it about South America or Central America? What is it that resonated with you so much? Because you could have chosen Australia, you could have chosen Vietnam, you could have chosen Cambodia, you could have chosen India. Many people do. So why Central America? Why South America? What is exactly that you felt there that you realized that you needed to spend there 3 months, which you haven't felt elsewhere? I assume.
So for me, it was a lot about the culture and way people live. So, for example, because I had this idea, I didn't know very well what to expect, but I had this idea of going to Guatemala, and I feel people are, for what I had seen, and I confirm it, that people are still very authentic there.
Yes.
Like, and there's something you cannot find that easy like anywhere else in the world. So it was very. They still keep their traditions. It's everything very authentic, and that's what I love. That's what I wanted to see. I didn't want to go to some other place that's so similar to us, or I wanted to see something different, something
there
authentic.
are not many layers in people, right? There are not many layers, and they I mean, what you see is what you get. It's a much more direct connection.
What you see is what you get, and it's totally different. I mean, it's, and also, for me, it's also.
What I think is that I don't know if it's different. I think it's closer to what the human condition should be, at least for me. But you say it's different from what? From Europe, from Asia,
from everywhere, I think. From Europe, definitely.
Yes.
From Asia, maybe a little bit as well. But from to our lifestyle is very different, and also their religion, their traditions, and it's also the way they live. It's much more slower than what we live here, and also for me, so it also makes a lot of sense. The music, the dancing part, what I told you, all of that, the nature.
What is exactly that you dance? Which sort of music did you started dancing there, if you can ask?
Mostly salsa. Yeah.
Nice.
Bachata also a little bit, but mostly salsa. Yeah.
Cláudia, if I understood well, you had to change your travel plans, right? So everything that you had planned at a certain moment, you had to change because of COVID.
Yes.
How was that?
So I've
to deal with because you I think that you felt that you had everything under control, and that COVID, because I think I followed you on Instagram, and I remember that you wrote about that. So I think that was the moment where you felt that, okay, this is not going to, I don't have this everything under control. How was that for you, to let go of control at a certain moment?
It was in the beginning. Okay, I wouldn't say scary. It was a bit frustrating. I think that's the best word, because I had tickets bought. I was supposed to do a yoga retreat in Nicaragua. I lost half of the money. I had to cancel my plans, everything, and it was a big shock. I was not expecting that. But actually, it was okay in the end. It was just what it had to be. So I just accepted, and okay, I stayed a couple of days more in Guatemala. Of course, I was sad. I wanted to go to Nicaragua. I had to change my plans, but in the end, I mean, it just accepted it. I think
did that help you also to accept things more easy when you got back? Because acceptance is also a big one. Huh?
I think so. Yeah. It's something that you have to work on every day, of course, but yeah.
Okay, tell me something. In August, you are coming back to Colombia. this time as a guide. So you are starting as a guide in a travel agency. I think it's called Boulevard Travel. You, for the ones listening, you can go to Claudia's Instagram, is at Explorer with Claudia, to know more about this. Was this something you wanted? Because was this something you were looking for? Was this a goal for you when you went on your trip, or this? I don't believe that this just happened. I don't believe that you just had the invitation. I think that you started to bring the energy that maybe this was something that you wanted to do, right? Maybe to talk to people, maybe to say to someone. So were you looking for this? How this happened?
Not it. I didn't, when it happened, I didn't search for it, but it was something that I had on my mind before I go. Maybe in the future it could be something I could do, because I'm waiting to go there and
search
see
for
how
it. Is that you didn't send like emails asking to be a guide in a travel agency, right? That's what you mean by I didn't search for it.
Yeah. So when this happened, it was the agency that contacted me.
Yeah.
I didn't look for them to. I didn't contact me. It was them who came and talked to me.
And yeah, but that was on your mind. That was on your mind.
It was on my mind already. It was a possibility. Yes, it was actually something I thought. Yes.
Okay.
But tell us exactly how did that start? Since when did you thought about that? How was that idea developed? How did it came up? Because we are seeing the beginning, or like you are like in the first year, right? This is like the beginning of that activity or business or project or whatever you want to call it. So you said it was in the back of your mind, but then you didn't search it. So that's quite a coincidence, isn't it?
After I come back from Central America, it was actually through Instagram, through another account of Portuguese travelers. They are at the Comic Viagens. I followed them and we talked sometimes, and they also asked me for some advice for some travels they were going to do. And then we were talking.
Basically, you, as we say in Portugal, possessed a jeito, ou seja, which means that you placed yourself in a position that it was obvious that sooner or later they would invite you, right? You start to share stuff on Instagram and this and that.
That's why I say that when you say that you didn't actively search for it, it means that you search for it in a non-active way. So you put it out there. Okay, this is something that that's in my mind.
I shared my story. I shared my pictures. Yes.
But what I'm most interesting on, as usual, and Andrea knows, is about the is about what's behind, is about the emotions, the feelings. What were you looking for? Because even if you didn't look for it, it was on your mind. So what were you looking for? Because you were. This is completely outside dentistry, and you're going to do it, of course, together with dentistry. So, but were you looking for something, to complete? You were looking for that kind of enthusiasm, that kind of motivation that we were talking before? Were you looking to just as a way of, okay, I like traveling, maybe I can earn some money also? Was that what was your motivation behind that?
Yes, it was actually a bit like that. I like traveling. I want to share my story, share what I do. Maybe, okay, I don't know, actually actively searching for something or completely change my life or something like that, but maybe having something else outside dentistry that's okay, maybe that's it, not making a life out of it, but like an escape, you know what I mean, that allows me to do something outside dentistry, to develop myself in another area, to explore something more of myself, challenging in another way.
That's very interesting. That's exactly. I like what you said. Just finding something more about yourself in another area and challenging yourself more in another area. That's very interesting. We know that we in this podcast we often talk about things outside dentistry and paths outside dentistry, like parallel work, parallel jobs, or side jobs, or whatever. And it's it's much more common that what we think, and we believe it to be very, very important. But having you is, I think it was the first time, and it's very fresh for us, because it's the first time that a dentist says, "Look, I am willing to try to mix something which seems unmixable, which is working 3 months in South America and then coming back and continue with my clinical work." Of course, that you have already talked about that you had to talk to the practices that you were working, but what is the real impact? I mean, what are the limitations? Can you do that forever? Can you work 3 months here, 3 months there, 3 months here, 3 months there? And what are your plans for the future? I mean, of course, no one knows, but would you see yourself doing only one of those things, two at the same time? What are the challenges of mixing those things? Because one thing is doing dentistry 3 days a week and doing something else 2 days a week. But you are doing something completely different on steroids, which is you're going to travel 10,000 kilometers away, you're going to stay there 3 months, and you're going to come back and work. What are the challenges? How do you see yourself in the future doing that? Of course, you don't have all the answers, but do you think is it easier than you thought? Is it more difficult? I mean, do you have to find practices that have that understanding? How is that challenge?
Okay, so that's what you say. First, I haven't done it, so my first time will be in August, and I have some expectations. But of course, when you do something, then you face the real challenges and you see how it is.
But sorry, Claudia. Sorry to interrupt. But you have already done a 3 month trip, and then you came back and you continued working, right? I mean, it's not like the first time. You have already done it, and you have already experienced. And my guess is, it was not, when you came back, it's not like the house was on fire. Everything was manageable, wasn't it?
How was that? Perfectly manageable. Yes, I was actually a bit afraid before I came back, because you think, okay, I'm outside 3 months. How is it going to be when I come back? But in the end, it was okay. I mean, going back to work, it was like before. Also, the practices, everything was the same. Of course, it's what you say. You have to find a place that understands that and where you can work on that way. But actually, what I'm also going to do now, so I'm going to go for a couple of weeks each time to guide some people to the places and then come back to work. But I think it will be totally possible to do it for some time, because in the end, you're just a couple of weeks away. Also, the practices, they collaborate, they work to help your patients on the time you are away.
Okay.
And
so sorry to ask, how old are you?
33.
33. That's very so. You said
she had to think about it. She had to think about
it. It happens with age. With age, that happens a lot. It's normal. But but one thing is, you said that maybe you see yourself doing 2 weeks every month, 2 weeks every 3 months, 2 weeks there every 4 months. Because 2 weeks every month is it can be difficult, right?
Yeah, I think 2 weeks every month. Well, I think it's, at least for now, maybe it's not possible. I don't know in the future. Of course, maybe it's something I think if it's something you agree with the practices, with the patients, it's totally doable.
I agree with you. But for example, for myself, if I had to travel to Latin America 2 weeks, come back, stay here 2 weeks, and then if I do that consecutively, it's for my health, and it's not easy, because all the time difference and everything. But tell me, did you ever find any situation that people were jealous of you coming back? Oh, here she comes,
that's
all
an interesting
10.
question.
Yeah,
Whole 10, she's all 10. Who does she think she is? She goes there doing salsa dancing. I see her Instagram stories. She seems to have the time of her life. And we are here taking care of her patients. I don't like her. This is not fair. Who does she think she is? I'm sure something like that either has happened or will happen. Right? I'm sure. Because people are people.
Normally are not that direct. But
no, I'm not talking about what they say. I'm talking about how they feel, which is a different thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm sure that you felt that.
Yes,
how did you handle that?
How did I handle that? I'm okay with that. I'm doing what makes me happy. And I mean, people will always talk about, will always judge. So in the end, but I also have to say sometimes, okay, I share on my social network and everything, but sometimes also when talking to people, I'm a bit careful on what I say because of that.
Mm-hmm. But Claudia, in order
it
for
shouldn't
you,
it shouldn't be like that, isn't it? It shouldn't be like that.
Sorry.
Yes, sorry. Go on.
No, I was just going to ask that in order for you to now you're going to start working, you were totally honest in the clinics that you work for, right? So you informed there that you were going to start, so they know that. So I think that's very important for us to say, because I think that one of the main things, if you really want to build a path, and if you really want to have a sidekick or to start something else and to combine it with dentistry, for you to be honest in the places that you work, it's very honest. So not only because it will be easier for you, but also because you're going to need their help to be able to have time and to have the conditions to do both things. So it's very important.
No, of course. I think, of course, to be honest and to communicate, for me, that's fundamental. That's the basics. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's you don't have a good relationship, and you're not able to do something more.
And we are not going to ask you if you had any particular reason, but when I look at that situation, what I anticipate is that yes. Some of your colleagues will be like, well, I mean, she's the lucky one, that she does all this. She has this amazing lifestyle. She comes here once in a while, and we take care of the. So I think that one of the things. I don't know if you should take this as an advice, but at least that's what I would do. I don't know if it is the word careful is the thing. I think it is. Be emotionally intelligent, realizing that it's likely that people feel jealous of that. I mean, it's normal. I mean, I would have if I worked with you in your practice, I would feel jealous as well. And we are humans, right? And we are not very logical people.
Yeah, of course.
And it's so I think it's very important.
If I was in the position of someone else, I would be as well.
Yes, I think it's very important for you to have understanding with that and not reactivity, have understanding with that, and maybe even involving those people. Well, how about coming with me? Just getting them involved. Well, next time we should come together. I'll show you around. You just come here. Eventually I can get you some good deals on the plane tickets and stuff like that. But just try to involve people in the thing. And it's just not. If it's something that makes you happy, use that happiness to make other people happy as well. And I think if you do that completely changes. I try to do that all the time while I travel, to bring the staff with me, either staff from the courses or staff from the practice. That's something that I think it really works, because it works not because it's like a strategy for me. It works because I feel happy sharing that. That's
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's not because if it is a strategy, because I don't want them to feel jealous, so therefore I feel obliged to travel with them. It's because I like to share that, and I
Yes,
think that's something
definitely. I understand. Yes, I
that is
understand and agree with.
my advice on that
Yeah.
to you.
No, of course. Yeah, like taking them with me, it wouldn't be so easy, especially because, for example, now that the agency where the agency that I'm going to work with, for example, it's only in Portuguese that we are accepting.
Yeah, but it really doesn't matter. It's just I'm not even talking. Okay, so just that simple conversation of when you
Yeah,
feel that
no,
someone has that
but I
attention
do
to
that. I
you,
think. Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
sit
yeah.
down. Well, you should come over next time. Look at the
Yes.
photos. Come
No,
over
but
next time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would love
I
you.
think
You'd love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Because I
I have
think
that
that's
approach
a very
as well.
important part of working
Yeah,
as a team
yeah,
is to be able
yeah.
to share the happy moments that you have.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I totally
And
agree.
how do you see yourself in the future? Do you see yourself in the future doing mainly dentistry, mainly traveling, or a combination of both? I mean, would you like to do only this for a living? I mean, let's go to the extreme. Would you like to go to do? Would you see yourself only doing this? Would you see yourself living in Latin America?
It's a tough question. I
Drop
don't know if I
dentistry.
would.
Drop dentistry. Forget the financial part. Forget the money. Forget that.
If you had
Don't think
no
about the money.
financial worries, this is what always
Would you still be a dentist?
the thing that we have to say when we make this kind of
Yes.
questions, because the mind goes first to the money, right? The mind. So if we take the money out of the equation, what would you do, Claudia?
Guys, it's still hard for me to tell because it's something that I'm going to do. I still haven't done it. So I don't know the challenges I'm going to face. Everything looks very good in theory, but then when you do it, it's something else. But if things go well, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Hard to say, but I think I could do it. Only traveling.
I think that's a yes. For me, that's a yes. What do you think, Manuel? That's a clear yes.
That's a fearful yes. Yeah. Yeah, no.
Maybe.
I think it's wonderful, Claudia, that you are giving yourself the opportunity. Of course, things might be completely the opposite of what you expect. You went 3 months alone. You were on your own. Now you're going. Of course, you're going to have people on your responsibility. So I think that you are a little bit of also preparing for that, and I think you will be great, and everything will work out fine. You will see just the fact that you are doing it and that you are having fun with it and that you are giving yourself the opportunity to experience it. I think that's so wonderful, and I really give you my congratulation on that, because and we are almost finishing, and I promise, but and that has to do with my last question. I know many colleagues that would like to do the same thing that you did. And I'm not even saying it was to start working with traveling. I'm just saying to have the guts of stopping for 3 months and go to a trip, whatever it is, to South America, Central America, Asia, America, Australia, whatever they want to be, but they would like to have the guts of doing that. Stop for 3 months and go travel, to really have that sense of this connection, to really have that sense of going deeper in a culture. So what would be your advice for a colleague that dreamed to do the same thing that you did, to stop clinical work for 3 months and go travel alone, or with a partner, where just the part of stopping clinical work for 3 months and go traveling? What would you think would be the most precious advice for you now that you've done it?
Just go. Just follow your heart, follow what you want to do. Yeah.
But for you to go, you have to prepare certain things. What have you done? You have to talk to the practices, you have to see the money that you're going to spend, right? You have to plan it, right? Because for you to just go, your mind will tell you a different million reasons why you cannot go, why you cannot go.
Yeah, it's always, you always have all the reasons not to go. But of course, you have to think, that's it. First of all, to talk to the practices, see what is possible, see the money, have an idea of how much you're going to spend, how do you want to travel. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, people who had done the same. I read blogs, everything, to have an idea of the prices of stuff, how much will it cost you. I have to decide also if I would, because I'm renting an apartment here, if I would leave it or not. How would I? That's just logistic things that you have to organize. You have to think a bit about everything. But I think if you want to do that, and of course, if you prepare a little bit, sometimes you have to prepare in advance to organize yourself, because you're living your life here, and you have to pay your bills. You don't live from the air, but if you want to go, there's always options. Of course, for me, I only traveled, but you can also work abroad, find another ways to live. So I think if you really want to do that, it's doable.
Make a plan, right? Make a plan. I think, again, the money part is very important. The money part is very important to really see the logistics and to plan, to talk with the clinics in advance to see if it's possible. If it's not 3 months, how much time you can take, because it's always possible. Cláudia, one last question. Why do you think that all dentists should take this kind of pause from dentistry? So to have this kind of connection, of creativity, of authenticity. What do you think that this pause of 3 months gave you, and that you took to your professional life, and would you advise it to other colleagues to do this kind of pausing and connection?
Yeah, I think everybody should do that, actually, because it allows you to calm down, to listen to yourself, to also make sure if you're where you want to be, in the right path, to be able to see things from a different perspective, also the way you look at other people at your work, and just listen to yourself and realize if that's what you want or not, or what is making sense in your life.
We say that a lot. We had an episode actually about that, about the fact that dentistry is so full of stimulation. You spend most of the days just reacting to whatever the day throws at you, even if you have your days very well planned, that you cannot have that that experience of listening to yourself, of stopping and really listening to yourself. And only after, you don't get that only from doing it once. So you will see that the more you will do it, Cláudia, the more you will be able then to use that connection on your daily life, and to use all the things that you learn to bring that into your daily life. And again, congratulations for your courage, and for being able to follow your gut, because I think you had that gut feeling in yourself, and you had all of this in the back of your mind, and you were able to put it in practice. And that takes a lot of courage. It looks and it sounds easy, but it's not. We know that it's not. And we also know that there's a lot of colleagues listening that would like to do something like that, and we hope that that this is an inspiration, that you are an inspiration for those colleagues listening.
Yeah, exactly.
And to do the same. And it's possible. And again, it doesn't have to be 3 months. It doesn't have to be Central America or South America. It has to be what you want it to be, what makes sense for yourself.
More than traveling or Central America. What it is just doing what you feel like what you want to do. Have the
and
guts
it's
of
finding
doing
that sparkle, that where you have that joy and motivation, right? That lights you up. So yeah, and that will make your life easier, and that will definitely make your dentistry practice easier also.
I was about to say that it's very inspiring, the courage that Claudia had to spend 3 months in a place in elsewhere, and to be able to propose that the practice that she works. Because if you don't propose that kind of stuff, no one's going to propose that to you. I mean, you have to take active action, and to be as honest with them as possible. So that's very inspiring. And like you were saying, it does not have to be traveling. It can be a different activity. It can be just having weekends off. Some people, they don't have it. It can be just working half the week and do something else. It can be whatever you want. But thanks so much for the inspiration. For me, it really resonates with me, because when you talked about the authenticity of Latin America, of Central America, I knew exactly what you were talking about. And that's what fascinates me about Latin America. So thank you so much for sharing with us that journey. And whatever the goal that this path takes you, I'm sure it is worth the chances. And I'm sure that whatever it comes out to be, either dentistry or traveling or both, or some of this or some of that, I'm sure that you will be a richer person and a more interesting person and a more giving person, which is the most important thing. Because at the end of the day, what you want is to make sure that you share that happiness with others, whatever that is, indeed, in Belgium or Latin America.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. So it's very nice to be here with you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And dentistry is all about connection, and sometimes we forget about that. It's the most important thing, is the connection with
but also
that we build.
So, but also let me add you, Manuela. Also, not about traveling only or anything like that, but also it's what you're saying, exploring new paths outside dentistry, new things that you like to do and everything. I think it's always a plus point, because if you feel good with yourself and what you're doing, that will reflect on your practice, definitely.
Exactly.
So I think that's so important.
That's very interesting what you said. I just remind me of something else. Do you feel less of a dentist now that you are going to start working outside dentistry, doing something else? Do you feel less of a dentist because of that?
Sorry, can you say it?
I'm asking if
I feel less of a dentist because of
less of a dentist now that you are going to start a sidekick.
Not at all. No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Because I think that's important to be said, because sometimes we dentists feel that we have to be dentists, just dentists. That's what we know what to do. And sometimes instead of those things adding in the beginning, it's like we are less of less professionals because of that. So I think examples like yours are very powerful to see how you can add something else, and that will make you also a better professional. So I think your example is very powerful.
I don't feel less of a dentist. I feel more me, and that makes me also like happier in my job.
That's it.
If you feel more of yourself, you feel you are a better dentist, I'm sure.
Yes.
Totally.
That's our thing, and that's what me and George André we preach about. We are always preaching.
You're an inspiration as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Claudia, and thank you for everyone listening. Thank you for everyone listening. If you want to know more about us and about our Conscious Leadership course, go to softbites.online. We have this Conscious Leadership course where we help you discover all this authenticity and how you can be more authentic as a dentist, how you can have more fun in your dentistry practice, because dentistry does not have to be boring and drama all the time.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Manuela. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.